Logan Paul has got to be the biggest sucker on the planet. I mean, at this point, I actually hate the guy. You know, the more clips that I see of him, the more I see him act, the more of his retarded justifications he gives for how much of a scumbag piece of shit that he is, the more that I just think that he deserves everything that Dylan Dennis and the rest of the people online are giving to him. At this point, I fully hate Logan Paul.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no excuse. Every time I see something come out about his wife being like a slut and his wife just wanting tons of penis, I'm always just like, this is great for Logan because it just destroys any sort of manhood he has left. You know what I mean? And it's great to see that. That's what you want to see for someone like Logan Paul.
No, it's really great to see. And also, you know, part of the joys in life is hatred. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, you should never hate. You should never be negative or whatever. Well, I think you should have a balance of all emotions. And Logan is just one of those guys that you're just allowed to hate, right?
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of, don't take my hatred as a sign that there's no comedy in this either, okay? For instance, Dylan Dennis put up this video of Nina Agdal, who we all know at this point, right? But somehow he's always able to find new material with the same bit. Like, the same bit has always been Logan Paul is marrying a whore, but he always finds new material that just blows me away. Like, how is he able to find this shit? Listen to this clip that he put up this morning.
Yeah, I mean, this clip is like posted 2 months into the controversy of just the beef, and it is just disgusting. I'm just like, what's the worst thing that's been posted yet somehow?
Yeah.
By the way, I'm very proud of myself. This is the longest I've ever gone without sex since I started. Obviously, it's driving me crazy. I am struggling. I need penis inside of me.
What?
ASAP. Like, all I want is like a big fat sausage.
Okay.
Just
all right.
destroying my body. So, if any of you guys know a good dick that doesn't have STDs on it,
Wow.
I'll take it.
Okay, so she has standards here, all right? Logan Paul's wife has standards.
If she's gonna fuck any old cock that'll just come into her front door, she will. But as long as there's no STDs, that's her standard. I
mean, could you find a better woman that Logan deserves other than this, you know, woman right here? And here's the other thing too, right? Women, you know, you should never, this is the last thing you should post. You know, I could appear on video in blackface and it would look less bad than this fucking video right here, okay? Seriously, like, nobody wants to hear this. I need a big cock in my ass. I really need it now. You post this for what, your Snapchat story?
Yeah, she's like sitting there posting it like to the public, I guess. I don't understand. How is this? Why would you do something like this? This is just so great. It also just kept going and going.
She's just treating her own body like it's a piece of meat, you know? It's just so, you know, filthy.
The fact it didn't stop is what blows my mind. Like, it wasn't just one thing where she was like, damn, I'm
craving for, I'm shuckling for cock.
I just need it now. I need
Shuckling?
it now. What does that even mean?
Really? Okay, well, you know what? Yeah, there's Logan Paul's wife, you know. I'm glad, I hope the 10 minutes of decision-making that he made when he decided if he wanted to put a ring on it, you know, was really worth it, Logan.
Yeah,
I mean,
you know, you want to be proper with your wording. It's actually his fiance. They're not married yet, so,
yeah,
you know.
I mean, if he had any sense, he'd call off the wedding, but
yeah.
Here's the deal, okay? This is not the only humiliating thing that's happened with Logan Paul recently, all right? This is actually just the introduction to our video today because Logan Paul decided he would go on Andrew Schultz's comedy podcast called Flagrant. And, you know, Andrew Schultz, he's a comedian I've seen before. I like some of his jokes. I think it's pretty funny. However, I gotta say, this interview was total shit. You know, Andrew and his team just gave Logan the softest interview possible. They avoided talking about any of the crypto stuff. They avoided really pressing Logan Paul and really anything. They kind of just let him, you know, sit around and tell his tale and lie openly, which, don't worry, we'll be debunking some of Logan's lies later on in this video, right? But it was a very softball interview, but somehow, because Logan is just such a horrible human, he found new ways to embarrass himself and look like the biggest asshole on the planet. Now, let me explain this drama. So, Logan actually opened up about his beef with Jidion. You know, you guys have seen recent clips, right, of Jidion and Logan Paul at the latest press conference where Logan got humiliated by Dylan Dennis on stage. Well, after that happened, he then got humiliated by Jidion outside of the stage. And a lot of people didn't really know the story behind this clip because Logan Paul called Jidion a two-faced bitch. And a lot of people on the internet were like, okay, well, the whole internet hates you. Why are you going after Jidion? How is he two-faced? What's the story here? Well, thankfully, Logan actually opened up about his reasons for why he thinks Jidion is a bad person. But before we get into that, just to bring you guys up to speed, so a couple months ago, the UFC took place, right? That's where all the Rumble streamers were there, Sneeko, Aiden Ross, they all met Donald Trump there. That's when they took their pictures with Trump. And Jidion was streaming that whole event on Rumble. He happened to be sitting next to Logan Paul. Logan told him to get up and leave, somewhat respectfully, although, you know.
It was super awkward, but
it was very awkward and strange. We did a whole video about this, by the way. You can go check it out. But if you want the full story, I'm just giving the Cliff Notes version of it. Well, Jake Paul then, you know, he was recording with Logan Paul. He took some shots of Jidion on Logan Paul's video, right? So then Jidion did a response stream to Jake Paul, and then fast forward to today, they confront each other outside this press conference, and Logan Paul calls Jidion two-faced, and now Logan Paul is going to explain why he thinks Jidion is a piece of shit.
So when this Dylan shit started coming out, and by the way, that was the extent of my conversation with Jidion. Okay. Then when this Dylan shit started coming out, Jidion's stoking the fire with Dylan. Fucking get back on Twitter, you're the funniest guy ever. And I'm in my head, I'm like, you worked with us, with Prime. You've been on my podcast. We're friends. We have open dialogue. I even gave you advice with some stiff stuff in your career. Because of these two things that I think were very reasonable, why are you completely flipping to someone who is an evil human?
Wow. Okay. Are you kidding me, man? This reveals so much about Logan Paul's brain right here, right? So the reason why Logan Paul doesn't like Jidion anymore is because Jidion thinks that Dylan Dennis is funny. And in Queen Logan's mind, if anyone is conversing with the enemy, an evil person, as Logan thinks Dylan Dennis is, right? Therefore, you are against Logan now, in Logan's mind, right? So Jidion just, you know, was hyping up Dylan Dennis. That's enough for Logan to say, fuck this guy. And then he goes on to say that because Logan's been nice to Jidion in the past, they've had, you know, he's had Jidion on his podcast, they gave him a Prime deal, whatever. For some reason, that means Jidion is never allowed to tangentially make fun of him ever again. And if he wants to, he must DM Logan Paul first and ask for permission for if he can make fun of Logan or not. I mean, how egotistically maniacal is Logan Paul? This guy is such a cocksucker.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously the biggest loser move you can do, is getting really, really upset at other creators, interacting with creators who you have beef with. It is just not that serious. I mean, Dylan Dennis is objectively funny. What he is posting is hilarious. The way that he is shitting on Logan is hilarious. So Jidion just simply acknowledging that fact is not the end of the world. I mean, y'all are at best internet acquaintances. It's not like y'all are insanely close, super tight, like, partners. It's not that serious.
And look, man, I'm not delusional, all right? I'm not saying Logan Paul has to like Dylan Dennis or, you know, be happy with what he's doing, obviously, right? I understand Logan not liking Dylan Dennis. But for him to burn the bridge with Jidion because Jidion thinks Dylan is funny, is that really all it takes? You know, you're going to as a creator, you're going to have friends of yours converse with, and I don't even think Logan and Jidion were ever friends, despite what Logan's saying. I don't think a Prime deal or collaborating on a public podcast is really a friendly move. It's probably more for their businesses, for their channels, for exposure. But even if they were friends, okay, in this industry, on YouTube, you're gonna have friends of yours. You're gonna have people that you've worked with before, talk to, even like other people that you don't like. For you to cut them off, for you to hate them because they converse with people you don't like, especially when you're Logan Paul. Let's not also act like Logan Paul is a perfect innocent victim and Dylan Dennis is just randomly harassing him or whatever. First of all, they have a fight going on. So Dylan is talking shit to build up, you know, some viewership, to build up some eyes for their fight, which is what he's supposed to do. They're supposed to be talking shit to each other. Logan Paul's also the biggest piece of shit on the planet. You know, you can sit there and say, oh, well, Dylan is going way too far. He's making it way too personal. Logan Paul doesn't deserve that basic symbol of respect as a man. No. He scammed everybody. He likes nobody. He has no real friendships or allies. Yeah. Even Jake Paul has turned on Logan, talking about how much of a piece of shit Logan's treated him his whole life on other podcasts. Jake Paul's now openly discussing these things about Logan. Nobody in Logan's life respects him, not even his wife, clearly.
Clearly not. I mean, look, there's a reason that he thinks that the Prime deal was him like being friends with Jidion. It's because he's just become a soulless corporate loser, and Prime is his entire personality. So he thinks that if you do a Prime deal with someone, that y'all are friends, because this is the only source of like connection that he has at all in his life anymore is Prime. I mean, it's absolutely pathetic. And his wife also doesn't respect him either. His wife, you know, withheld her sexual body from him for a long period of time when they were dating. He was not allowed to fuck her.
Yep.
But if you were any old person down the street, as long as you didn't have an STD, you could stick your cock right in her immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
Except Logan
Suddenly
Paul.
she was worrying about, I don't want to be a slut, have, promiscuous sex all the time or whatever, even though that's been her entire life before dating Logan.
Yeah.
I mean, how much more pathetic could you guys get? And also, you guys talking about this on a show is crazy enough as it is, but that's a story. Maybe we should do a video on that topic later on if you guys like this one. Let's keep going though, because we're only a minute into this clip and there's so much more worse things Logan has said. I really don't like Logan anymore, guys.
No.
I mean, before, I was kind of playing out for the camera. Now I just don't like Logan. Like, actually, like he's the worst. He's
guy
worse than
sucks.
Fousey too.
Horrible.
Human. Especially as a person who is as supposedly good virtued as Jidion is.
Nah, he's a good guy.
No.
Why choose Dylan fucking Dennis? An actual evil human.
Okay.
So now Logan, this is how delusional Logan Paul's ego is. This is how Logan Paul needs to be stopped, okay? If you guys missed what he just said, I'll break it down for you. Logan makes a vague reference that Jidion is Christian. And because Jidion is openly Christian, how dare he support Dylan Dennis, some evil demon, as opposed to Logan? Logan's actually making the argument that he is closer to the godly position. God would side with him over Dylan Dennis.
Yeah, I mean, when he's making
Really?
when he's making that little hand motion, like trying to do this, he's trying to do the whole,
The sign of the cross.
Yeah, exactly. So he's trying to say a good, virtuous person like Jidion. And yeah, so you're obviously implying that he's Christian. I mean, I think Jidion's openly Christian, right? I think
Jidion is openly Christian. He talks about this all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So he's trying to compare that and saying, you're Christian, how dare you do that? I am the virtuous. Like, I don't think that this is, I don't even know how to explain this. This is impossible to break down. I mean, it's just actually so delusional.
It really is, and it shows just how strong his ego, Logan Paul's ego is insane, and that clip says it all right there. He really thinks that Dylan is the demon, and if you're a Christian, let me explain this to you, Logan, right now, okay? You go on your podcast, Impulsive, and shit on Christianity. You shit on people, even your own childhood friends that grew up Christian. You bring them on your show, and you insult them to their face.
Yeah.
You talk about how they're emotionally unintelligent and they need to abandon God for therapy, right? You openly mock. Any Christian could look at you and listen to your podcast for more than 20 minutes, even without seeing that clip alone, and understand that you're not somebody who is a godly or virtuous man, especially in comparison to Dylan. I'm not saying Dylan Dennis is like a saint either. None of you guys are saints. But to say, but to sit there and imply that you are closer to the godly position and therefore Jidion is a bad Christian for siding with Dylan Dan. Logan, look at your own actions. Like you are the worst.
And also this idea of siding with Dylan Dennis, bro, he just thought his tweets were funny. It's not that deep. This isn't the battle of like Jesus Christ and Satan himself, where you are fucking Christ and Jidion is choosing Satan. Like that's how he's portraying this. It's just absolutely crazy. He just thought his tweets were funny. It's not that deep.
When it comes to Dylan Dennis and Logan Paul, both of them are shit. Yeah. Okay, probably, right? But Logan Paul is the only guy that has all these clips making fun of Christianity. So for him to even bring up that point, it's just hysterical. Yeah. Let's keep going.
Why?
So that's why.
Did you ask him that?
I didn't ask him. I was in Manchester, and he's like, and I knew this was gonna happen. He was backstage. He chirped him. He's like, "Hey, Logan, can we switch seats real quick?" He was like trolling me in person, and I was, bro, I don't know, testosterone was flying. Like I was at this press conference. I just threw a cake of Dylan Dennis's head at Dylan Dennis. Yeah. And I was just like, "Yo, you two-faced." And he's like, "Yo, dude, what about you and KSI? What about won't be real with KSI?" And I didn't understand what he was saying, and he says he doesn't need to be real with me because I'm not real, but I've only kept it real with Jidion.
So Logan's like, I didn't understand what he was saying. I didn't know what to do in the moment. Even Andrew was asking him if he confronted Jidion about his issues with him, right? And Logan admits, well, no, I never did. And in the moment, I didn't understand him, which is a pretty funny way to say you didn't have a good comeback and you're not clever enough to, counter Jidion, attacking you outside of the press conference. But here's the other hypocritical thing about Logan Paul's logic. Logan Paul was was just saying that Jidion has never gone to him privately. He just, you know, laughed at Dylan Danis publicly, and even though they were friends, you know, he never hit him up. Logan just admitted he never hit up Jidion about his problems and why he thinks Jidion is two-faced to him at all. So in Logan's mind, if you're going to diss him by just laughing at some jokes online, you have to confront him first. But when he has real issues with you, he's not going to confront you. He's just too weak to do that. Yeah. He's not going to confront you, and he's not even going to understand why he needs to confront you, despite this being a stipulation he has for everybody else.
Yeah, it's just so hypocritical. And also, he always just likes to play dumb and clueless. This is something he does multiple times. Even in another clip we have up here, he's always just going to be like, oh, then the guy said, blah, 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 blah. He just doesn't know what's going on, or he pretends to not know what's going on in order to be able to make points and not be questioned on it. But it's like, you heard what happened. You heard what Jidion said to you. You're not that fucking, well, maybe you are that fucking stupid. And it's just the way he downplays shit all the time. It's just absolutely embarrassing.
It is. Here's the other thing too, right? I mentioned earlier in this video that Logan did lie on this podcast. Let's get into that, because I think that's really interesting, right?
Yeah.
So we covered in one of our Logan Paul videos, we've done a bunch at this point, right? We might need to make it a series on our channel. But, you know, Logan Paul made a bet with Conor McGregor, who's currently training Dylan Danis for the fight. He bet Conor McGregor $1 million, which obviously prompted Dylan Danis and everybody else on the internet to be like, okay, well, you're not going to pay the $1.8 million you owe to the CryptoZoo victims, right? But you're willing to make spontaneous $1 million bets with Conor McGregor, which is obviously retarded. Well, Logan talked about that bet a little bit more on Andrew Schultz's podcast, and he actually doubled the bet to $2 million. But on top of that, he lied and said that Dylan Danis never responded to the bet. He never had a comeback, and he tried to say that Dylan was a pussy. He's like, yeah, I bet Conor McGregor all this money, and Dylan Danis didn't even respond. Let's play the clip right now, and then let's expose why Logan Paul is lying out of his ass. And let's also talk about the fact that Andrew and none of the other people, and then let's also talk about how Andrew and all of his buddies, you know, didn't even confront him on the crypto shit at all and just let him get away with this lie.
You're gonna train Dylan for your fight? Okay. I'll bet you $1 million. I bet you $1 million that I beat your fighter. Radio silence.
So no response whatsoever for the $1 million bet.
Nothing, bro. And I even asked Dylan about it. In the face-to-face, I was like, where's your fucking boy? Where's Daddy Connor with the $1 million bet? He's so confident in you. Yeah. He's like, oh, don't worry about that, blah, blah, blah. Like, he has no answer.
So right there, Logan Paul says that Dylan Danis had no answer. But of course, everybody knows that he did have an answer. You wouldn't know by watching this podcast alone because, again, Andrew and his co-hosts don't confront Dylan solidly enough about his lies. But everybody knows that as soon as Logan Paul made this bet, Danis immediately responded by bringing up CryptoZoo. He said, bro has the money to bet $1 million, but can't pay off the people he scammed. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, he instantaneously had a response, but it's another one of those things where, you know, he likes to, like I just said earlier, he likes to downplay being like, oh, and then he said, oh, he had nothing to say. No, he did have something to say. You're just playing dumb and playing ignorant, and unfortunately, these flagrant people aren't even really well versed as to what's going on. They maybe didn't do any research, or maybe they have no clue who these people even are. I don't know what's going on, but this is something that's so easy to call out if you're even like slightly informed at all about this topic.
Yeah, and again, they didn't know anything about the CryptoZoo stuff, or if they did, they covered it up. But all of the comments on this podcast, even from the flagrant fans, even they know that this interview was shit because they softballed Logan. It's so incredibly hard and for no reason other than, I guess, clout chasing. I mean, Logan is the last guy you'd want to clout chase from nowadays because of how shit his reputation is, but I don't know. But again, as if lying wasn't bad enough, again, Logan's ego is just wildly out of control. We have to talk about this even more, right? Logan Paul, later in the show, gets pressed very lightly because one of the co-hosts said that Jake Paul was a better boxer, and even then, again, Queen Logan can't accept that as an answer. Even if you point out objective reality to Logan by saying Jake Paul is the better boxer, even his own brother, he's not willing to give the props and say, yeah, he is a better boxer than me. Listen to this clip because Logan Paul just has a meltdown.
I did say it, but you know what? That's not where I fucked up. Because I can say to Jake and to the internet, I can say I do believe I'm the better boxer. That's
Yo, come on, Al, you're doing that thing where when he says something serious, you laugh.
Yeah.
Why do you always do that thing?
I want him to be serious with us.
And you're immediately shielding for Logan right there. It's just why?
Like, come on,
be serious, bro. Be serious. Come on, let me squeeze your arms again.
Yeah.
Be serious, bro. Come on.
He can't get nothing. You got prime, you got wrestling, you got everything. You got the podcast.
Can he get one thing?
Like, give him the boxing.
he's great. He's great.
He's way better.
Whoa, Milton. Milton, hold your.
Logan did not like that answer at all. They're pointing out reality to him. This is not even debatable. I mean, obviously Jake Paul's the better boxer.
Yeah, I mean, they're pointing out reality to him, but they're also like sucking him off at the same time. I mean, the guy's barely giving him any pushback. He's like, you have Prime, which you're so huge and strong for. You have the wrestling, which you're such a super awesome Chad. And you have your super strong, awesome Chad podcast. But just give Jake one thing, please. And then, I mean, he's still throwing a hissy fit over it.
Yeah, even when they qualify it by sucking his balls a little bit, but then also saying that Jake Paul's the better boxer. Nope, Queen Logan is not happy.
Too much.
He's not happy.
That's the only thing. Puerto Rican, we good.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Come on, we family, Puerto Rico. We in here. Come on. Yeah, right? You just gotta keep going. No, but
I feel like you don't fuck with me.
I love you. No, I really do. I fuck with you. I really do. I just like trolling you a little bit. It's fun.
But way better.
Yo, way better?
Okay, maybe not way, buddy. Clearly.
So Logan says, I feel like you don't fuck with me because the guy thinks that Jake Paul is a better boxer. Clearly him stating that and also sucking his balls. Again, to Logan, he's like, this guy's got an issue with me, man. Like, what's the deal, bro? Like, how dare you say that?
Because you're pointing out that you think of someone as a better boxer than you. Okay. And also, like, again, these people don't press him on anything because he just backed down. He said way better. And they said, okay, well, maybe not way better.
Yeah.
Why are these people so intimidated by him? Is he really that intimidated of a guy? I mean, he seems just like a loser. Just every time I watch him talk, I'm just like, oh my God, I roll my eyes. I'm like, what the
Dude,
fuck?
He's got such a serious ego issue. I mean, it was obvious before, but this podcast just highlights it in such a horrible way. If anything, maybe them kissing his ass actually fucked him over more because they're inflating his ego, and as a result, he's saying so much more stupid shit than he usually says. I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking into it. The podcast was very, very revealing. You know what else is revealing? Logan Paul doesn't even drink Prime. You know that shitty drink he's always promoting literally every breathing second of his day?
Yeah.
Well, according to Jidion, who's been around Logan Paul many times in real life, he's never seen Logan drink Prime because it's shit.
Yeah.
He's at the UFC, and if you want to be honest, he's not even there for a date night. The only reason he's here is so when the UFC shows the camera on him, he can flash the Prime bottle.
True.
Like, that's literally the only reason why he's here. He could give a damn about the fight. He could give a damn about me. He could give a damn about his girl. All he cares about is when that camera shows on him, he flashes that Prime bottle.
Terrible.
And then he's gonna not even drink it. You ever notice he don't even be drinking it? And I've seen so many clips. He literally just has the tap on. He'll like pretend drink it. I've never seen Logan actually drink a Prime bottle.
He's probably never drinking it because Prime is probably, allegedly, possibly just full of estrogen and just other horrible chemicals that'll fucking, ruin your life. No, I'm obviously joking.
It's definitely full of, caffeine or whatever, up to like an insane, I think one Prime is like 6 like Starbucks Frappuccinos.
Yeah, like
so that's crazy, by the way, especially when it's made for kids.
6 cups of coffee and 1 little drink. Yeah, I think they got investigated by the FDA for that, which, unfortunate, but hey.
Look, I'll say this, all right, just to cap off the video. I know I've been mean to Logan. I'm sorry, Logan. Look, I will say this. Rare Logan W for not drinking Prime. That shit's ass, we don't want it. We don't want to drink it. We don't want to see that shit. We hate when you promote it. I'm glad you can agree with us that even you won't even drink it. That's just amazing to hear.